Hey everyone, this is Sunlock24, and today I'm going to be showing you an extremely fun deck, and it was made possible with the event, what's it called? It's Yubel something, Rise of Yubel. Anyway, the deck is a Yubel deck, it's extremely fun, but unfortunately, it really isn't very competitive. It's basically a fun deck, and if you don't have the cards for it, I would just highly suggest not to go for it, because it's an extremely expensive fun deck. And so let's go ahead and get started into the deck list, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So first of all, I'm running, of course, the one yubel, the Ultimate Nightmare, then one yubel-Terror Incarnate, and then three just regular yubels, one Jinzo, three the Tricky, three Sangan, two Dark World Dealings, and if you want to run three, you can run three and take out one of the overdone burials, but the burials are really good, so that's why I dropped the Dark World Dealings down to two instead. Three overdone burials, and this card was really hard to get. You do have to get it from ranked gameplay, and I got it a while back and just never done a video with it. And then three limit reverse, and I think limit reverse and the overdone burials are the better cards in this deck. So basically what you want to do is you want to send Yubel into the graveyard, and then bring it back with either overdone burial or the limit reverse. So it's extremely easy to get Yubel into the graveyard, especially since we're running three Sangans. Sangans can get you any version of Yubel, and every now and then you do want to get the this last version, the Nightmare. So you can ditch it for the burial, and then you can bring the Yubel back. But the Jinzo's here, it's the way you play the deck is you play it extremely passively, and what you do is you just sit on the Incarnate, and then just stay on there, let it blow your opponent's monsters up, and after a couple of turns, like five or so turns, you wait until you get Trickies and until you get Jinzo, and then you do one final attack for the very end. The Incarnate makes your opponent use up a ton of cards, and then even if they're able to get rid of it, then they'll have to deal with the Nightmare. But most of the time, you're always going to have the Incarnate out. It's rarely for you to see the Nightmare, but it's there just in case you do need it. But again, this is the main card in the deck. Again, you just sit on cards, and once you have everything that you need, then you can go ahead and just OTK your opponent. The Trickies are really good because you can just swarm the field extremely fast, and then they can be special summon, which is, I think, the only reason why I'm running them, because you can special summon them, ditch any of the Yubels that are in your hand, or ditch anything else, special summon, then tribute for a Jinzo, and then special summon another one. And then they're level 5, so you can always overdone burial them. You can send any type of Yubel and bring them back, and same thing with Jinzo. The burials, they're actually extremely good in this deck. They do negate the effect on the field, but they don't negate graveyard effects. So whenever Yubel gets destroyed or sent to the graveyard while it's attached to the burial, the effect will still trigger, and the same thing goes for Sangan. So if Sangan gets destroyed while you bring it back with either the burial or the limit reverse, they still will trigger in the graveyard. So let's go ahead and get into some replays. Okay, let's see. And I should have, I always do 4 replays, so I should have 4 replays. And there, again, it's a casual deck, so it's not really going to be something, it's casual, something like amazing or anything, but it is a really fun deck to use. Let's see. I think there's 5. Let's see, I don't remember any of them, even though it was this morning when I had time to go ahead and just play some. And I had a couple of hours, and I hadn't played the event at all, but I was getting some tickets, and I just went and played this morning and grabbed everything from the event this morning. Again, I haven't played the event at all, but if you put 2 hours aside, you will most likely get done with it extremely quick if you already have the tickets or the things that they require you to play. And I just went into the gate and do the rewards times 3 and got it done extremely fast. Well, not the whole event, but I got most of the cards out of it. So set Sangan, Sangan gets destroyed, activate the effect, Sangan gets me. Here I was thinking I was going to go ahead and ditch for the overdone burial. I was going to ditch the Nightmare, but I drew limit reverse, which was just extremely lucky, and that made me just get a ton of cards out. on the limit reverse just completely saved the hand. Alright, so he's gonna get rid of the Tricky, and then I'm gonna go ahead and limit reverse, get yubel from the graveyard, and then the next turn. And I wonder why they didn't had an animation. Maybe there's an animation for the Nightmare, because I've actually haven't been able to summon him yet. Again, the opponent is most of the time can't deal with the Incarnate. And here I noticed that he doesn't have any cards in hand, so I just went for the attack instead of just playing passively. And I think that ends up winning me the game. Again, because there's a Jinzo, and Jinzo goes in, he can't activate any of his trap cards. Again, you just really have to read what your opponent is doing, and if you think you can go ahead and just win the game with Trickies, you're better off distributing the Incarnate and then just go for game. Alright, this next one. And again, if you don't have the cards to build this deck, do not build it. Again, it's really expensive and it's really not that competitive. These are in really low tier ranked games, so it's basically a casual game, and everybody that I'm playing against has like 25 card deck or a 30 card deck. So I just want to let you know, don't spend the money for this. As you really, I don't know if there's a mat with the Nightmare, but if you want to go ahead and get it, I guess you can give it a try. I believe I will try a different version where you destroy the, the second version and try to get the Nightmare out to see if there's some mat that you get after summoning it 100 times. I don't know if there is, but I'm guessing it'll look really nice. I do have the mat for the event, which looks really good too. I don't know why the replays don't show the mats, but I do like the mat. I think it was one of the only reasons I played the event for the mat. I like to look. It's this guy on the background. And here you're just gonna see just playing really passively and just letting the Incarnate just destroy everything and get your opponent to just use up a ton of resources and monsters. Now, one of the, I would say the biggest weakness to the deck is it's gonna be enemy controller. If your opponent has an enemy controller, you just automatically lose, and I think that's why it can't be competitive. Another thing that you can do against it is a Drowning Mirror Force. If your opponent Drowning Mirror Forces you, you're just done for it. So again, it's weak against the enemy controller and the Drowning Mirror Forces. There's other random cards that, like if you attack into like a random Hain, and then they bounce your yubel, then you're done for. Well, not necessarily, but your first version is gonna get destroyed, or your second version. So that's the only reason that the deck can be really competitive. But if you're playing against someone that's not running enemy controllers, or someone that's really hasn't played the game for a while, they're not going to be able to know what to do. And most of the time, they'll just end up losing because of it. Because they're not going to be able to know how to get rid of the yubels, and they're just going to lose. Again, another 30 card deck. Again, like I said, is really low rank. So, alright, so Dark World Dealings. And I'm just trying to get into the yubel, so that's the only reason the dealings are there. Sangan gets me the first yubel, and here I can go ahead and just do a ton of things, and then there's another limit reverse. So ditch that for a Sangan, tribute the Sangan for a Jinzo, activate Sangan's effect, get another Sangan, set the limit reverse, and then just a suicide, and then I can just go ahead and activate limit reverse during his turn. And then bring out yubel. And then you don't have to worry about yubel's effect, because during your turn you just switch it to defense, it gets destroyed, it activates, and then you get the Incarnate. And then once Incarnate comes out, you just sit there, and that was terrible of him to activate the Fatal Abacus whenever a monster gets sent to the graveyard to take 500, and here he just took 1,000 because 2 of his monsters were destroyed. And again, here just attacking for game, and then he just surrenders after that. I think that was the third one. Let's do this fourth one. And I thought this guy was playing yubel also, or he may have. I don't remember if he was, but I didn't really see it. He was playing some random stuff also. Alright, and I'm going first. I did draw a decent hand since I'm able to get Yubel like after my second turn, or the Incarnate version of it, because of the limit reverse. And again, the limit reverse and the barriers I think is what makes the deck. And I was experimenting with like tribute to the Dooms, but there's really no use for it if you have Incarnate. And the tribute, I think level 60 uses tribute to the Doom, and I think level 50 does too. There's also I think the one that uses tribute to the Doom uses Ante or whatever the card is, to inflict 1,000 life points. You show your opponent one card, they show you one card, and then the one with the highest attack or highest level monster wins. And Yubels are like level 10 and higher, so most of the time you're always going to win, and your opponent's always going to take 1,000. But I think I only have one Ante or whatever it is, so I didn't go that route. And here, just playing really passively, just destroying a ton of monsters with Incarnate, and just waiting for me to get a good size hand for me to start attacking. And Sangan is extremely good also in this deck. You can basically search any of the Yubels. I have Magic Drains, which I wouldn't recommend playing Magic Drain right now. I think most decks just run a ton of spell cards, so it's just going to be a 1-for-1 basically. And there I ran out of targets for Yubel. And if you guys have your own version of it, I would love to see it down in the comment section below, or send it to me on one of the links that I have on there, on Patreon, on Facebook, on Twitter, or if you have your own video, I would like to see it. I kind of want to see what you guys are doing with it. I do have another version where I'm trying to get the Nightmare out, but I think I'll do maybe another video. I'm not guaranteeing it, but I might do another video with that particular version of it. And it just really depends on how it works. I haven't played much with it, but so far I've been able to summon the Nightmare once. But if it does work in a casual setting, I guess I'll go ahead and try to play it and show you guys a video with it. But for now, it's going to be this particular version. There's the Overdone Burial. And again, the effect of the negate is so you don't have to tribute anything. So there you go, it doesn't tribute anything to the burial. And then, but whenever Yubel gets destroyed, he still has his effect. Whenever it goes to the graveyard, does trigger. So you see right there, it does trigger whenever it's because it's a graveyard effect. It's not a field effect. And there's the Incarnate again. And again, another limit reverse. Sangan, and get one of Yubel, and then get the Tricky, and then basically start doing a ton of damage. That's another limit reverse for another Sangan tributor for Jinzo. And again, I think Jinzo is a must for whenever you're gonna do your final attack. But once you're in the higher ranks, I think you will need it because everybody's running the Wall of Destructions and all that other mess. The Drowning Mirror Forces and all that other stuff. But in casual, you don't really have to worry about anything. And let me go ahead and show you the deck one more time. And again, I do want to stress this that it is a fun deck. It's not a really competitive deck. And if you have these guys, you can run more of them. I do have 3 of them, but I choose not only to run 2 because as I was testing, the 3 were just way too much. The Overdone Burials, I think they're good at 3, they're perfect at 3 because you can just ditch whatever and then bring back the Tricky, bring back the Jinzo, bring back Sangan. You can basically bring anything back. And then if you Sangan get the Nightmare, you can send the Nightmare for any of the for the first version of it. And then you can always ditch out or bring out the Nightmare from the graveyard because whenever the Incarnate triggers to special summon the Nightmare, it can either be from your hand, deck, or graveyard. So this guy, as long as it's not removed from play, you should be able to special summon it, and you can always get him with Sangan, then send it for the Overdone Burial. You get the Yubel. Once Yubel gets destroyed, you go ahead and get the second one, and then if somehow your opponent manages to get rid of it, then you go ahead and get him out. But again, with this particular deck, you're always going to be relying on the Incarnate. It's going to be hard, or not really hard, it's just really going to depend on your opponent to see if you're going to summon the Nightmare. Again, I haven't summoned him with this particular version yet, because it's always all about the Incarnate. So if you do have any suggestions for this deck, do leave them in the comment section below, or if you have a version of Yubel that you would like me to see, send me a message, or again, post it in the comments, or just send it to one of my, I guess, social links down in the comments, or not in the comment, but in the description. And again, if you do have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you are enjoying my content, I would truly appreciate if you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.